tried a judo class in the Boston area, and the warm-up reminded me of Physical Asia. You know what's funny? Some people there had already seen the Old Guy Judo channel on YouTube. That blew my mind. So this video is my experience of training judo in a dojo on the other side of the country. So last month, I attended a conference at Harvard University. And since I was going to be there for 4 nights, I decided to look into the possibility of attending a nearby judo club and go to a session or two. And it turns out that the hotel that I was staying at, which was the Porter Square Hotel, within only half a mile of walking distance, was a nearby club. So it turns out that the Tohoku Judo Club is one of the oldest clubs in the New England area, and it's operated as a nonprofit. So I reached out and they said, sure, drop on by, just bring your USA Judo information, and we'd be happy to have you. So with a little bit of trepidation, not knowing exactly how it would go, I decided to try it out. I packed up my judo gi, jam-packed my suitcase, which normally doesn't include a judo gi. So I really had to cram it in there along with everything else I was bringing for 4 nights, but I made it fit. I actually brought a judo gi that was an older one just in case for whatever reason I didn't get a chance to wash it and I felt like I had to leave it behind. So I have 4 judo gis, 2 white and 2 blue. I brought my oldest white one and figured I could really replace it if I had to. I traveled from the West Coast to Boston on Wednesday and decided to join the Wednesday class. So I had to make sure I packed a bag that I could carry my clothes in. I didn't want to walk half a mile in my judo gi, so I just made sure I packed a bag that I could carry my gi in and change once I got there. When I got there, I introduced myself to Sensei Heather Sweat, one of the instructors there, and was able to change and started taking part in the class. The warm-up was fun. We actually split up into 2 groups, split up by size, 1 to 10. So that 1 to 10 on one side is about the same size as 1 to 10 on the other side. And then there was, instead of a ball like Physical 100 or Physical Asia style, just a belt that was bundled up. But the idea was for whoever was called, say number 3 competing on one side versus competing against 3 on the other side, as soon as that number was called, to rush into the middle and, like Physical Asia, to try to grab that belt and bring it back to their side. And you can use any kind of grappling you wanted to bring the belt over to your side. So sometimes it would be 1-on-1, sometimes it would be 2-on-2, sometimes 3-on-3, and at the very end it was everyone. So that was a lot of fun as a warm-up, not your typical warm-up, but really getting the competition juices flowing and getting your heart pounding in order to try to bring home a win for your team. Some other interesting exercises that we did that we don't normally do at my home dojo was to break into groups of 4 or 5 and practice different things like throws, practicing turnovers. And the reason that's different for my home dojo is that we have enough space and we can pair up and everyone can just practice on an ongoing basis with the other person to do throws 1 for 1, or doing the turnovers 1 for 1, or 3 for 3, or 5 for 5, or however you want. So we have enough room to spread out. But at Tohoku, their dojo is smaller, and so it makes sense. You kind of have to be confined. And actually, the benefit of that, though, is that so it was one person that was responsible for the throw or the turnover, but then they would do it against all 3 or 4 other people that were in their group. And so when you do that, you get exposed to more ideas, the different ways and different sizes of people that you're throwing or turning over, and also the way they are throwing or turning over you. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I like that as well, just as something that I don't normally do. We also got to do randori. And for someone who is used to doing randori against the same people that you have in your dojo, it's always interesting to try randori against other people, people who don't know your style, to see how you match up. And I think that was good. It was nice to try and see how you match up against other people to see whether or not your skills. And I thought they were comparable to folks at our place. I wasn't much better. I wasn't particularly worse. I thought I did okay, and I thought it was fun to try randori against folks. Since I brought and wore my own judo gi, I clearly was going to have to wash it because you can't afford to have another 3 or 4 days with a stinky judo gi before you get home. Fortunately, I identified a laundromat about a half mile in the other direction, and I had that morning free, the Thursday morning, because my conference wasn't until Friday and Saturday. So that was my Thursday morning, going over to the laundromat, figuring out how modern day laundromats work, where you don't have to have a bunch of change. A lot of the machines now are connected to different apps that you can then fund online through a credit card or other financial entity. So that was a new thing, learning about how modern day laundromats work. But yeah, it was actually fairly easy, although it would have been easier just to borrow the judo gi directly from there, which it would have been great. And what was fun is that I was there on a Wednesday, and it turns out that on Sunday they were having an in-house tournament. Well, I guess it was a little bit more than an in-house tournament because they invited other nearby clubs to participate. So still a small tournament. It was held just in their studio right there. So not a lot of space, one match going on at a time where everyone could watch, but fun nonetheless, because my other experience was the only other tournament that I've attended so far, which was the San Jose Open, which is a really large tournament with hundreds or maybe even thousands of competitors. I think hundreds of competitors, but at a really large facility. This one, talking about one mat, everyone's watching, and a few dozen competitors. So really cool. People I was just getting to know, watching them compete, and really kind of a casual but fun way to spend a couple hours in the morning before I had to head back. And I was rooting for everyone. It was really cool to root for the local Tohoku guys, as well as watching how people from other clubs were competing and doing. Everyone at Tohoku was really welcoming, very warm. A bunch of people took the time to introduce themselves to me and make conversation. And you probably feel this too, but there's just kinship with not only people in your own dojo, but if you happen to meet other people that meet judo, I think there's this immediate familiarity and warmth. Another interesting aspect is I was wearing my old guy judo t-shirt where it says oldguyjudo.com on the back. And it turns out a couple people actually had seen this channel, had seen some of these videos. So I'm glad to be part of that judo journey for other people the same way they have been a part of mine. So thank you to Sensei Dale, Sensei Heather, and Sensei Dan for welcoming me and making me feel like a part of the family. I am glad that I went to Tohoku, bought a shirt, and will look forward to going back when I can. And if you're in the Boston area, please check it out. I think you'll have a great time, and they will welcome you with open arms the way they did with me. If you like the video, smash that like and subscribe. Smash that like and subscribe.
Smash.